something so foreign, so ugly, so nasty that he just can't.
Like you?
Yeah, like really, is there anything God's afraid of?
You know what now? That monster something does look like them.
No, I mean that's an important question. The reason why I asked this question because we were doing some studies. We're doing some studies in the Bible, right? And and there's a verse I want to read in one version that I'll switch it to another. Because when we, again, to us, a monster is something that's so unlike us that we have to be repulsed by it. Like, ew, that's nasty. That's so much unlike us. So are there any things that are so much unlike God that God says, I can't look at that. That is ugly. That's nasty. Right? Right? So, let me read this verse and I'll read it in another version. Right? Verse 14. The Pharisees, who were lovers of money, heard all these things and they ridiculed him. That's Jesus. You know, anyone know what it means to ridicule? Make fun of, put down. They were ridiculing Jesus. Like, remember, Jesus had a lot of people that didn't like him. Right? It's like, shut up, Jesus. You don't know what you're talking about. Right? And he said to them, Jesus said to them, you are those who justify yourselves before men. But God knows your hearts. For what is exalted among men is an abomination in the sight of God. That word abomination. Anyone know what the word abomination means?
It's not pleasing to him.
It's not pleasing to him. That's a tough word. We were trying to find words that matched it.
Yeah, we came up with abomination.
Yeah, Obama.
But
that wasn't it. Check this out. Right? Now you guys are going to have to help me because I don't have the word up. Can you tell me how to spell abomination?
O-B-O-M-O.
Oh gosh.
Okay, someone read that to me.
Something abominable. Extreme disgust or hatred.
Yeah, extreme disgust. Anything you ever look at and you're like, oh, I'm gonna like. How many of you, if someone throws up and you see it, you throw up? Like someone throws up, you
That's an abomination.
right? That's extreme disgust. Okay, now Caleb and Adam are super intelligent guys, and I asked them, could you find a synonym for abomination? And we really couldn't, because we couldn't find a word that really expresses how, like, because it's
right there, please.
yeah, but it really doesn't express what we're thinking, what the Bible's saying when it's an abomination to God, something that disgusts God so much, right? So we went to this other version of the Bible, right? And I want to read this to you guys, right? Okay, it says, when the Pharisees, a money-obsessed bunch, heard him saying these things, they rolled their eyes, dismissing him as hopelessly out of touch. They rolled their eyes at Jesus. Oh, not again. Jesus and his stories, right? So Jesus spoke to them. You are masters at making yourselves look good in front of others. But God knows what's behind the appearance. What society sees and calls monumental, right? God sees through and calls monstrous. Wow, there goes that term monstrous, right? What society sees as great, as, wow, look at that, that's awesome, that's what I'm talking about. When God sees it, he sees a monster. Because it's so unlike him. So what are some of the things that society sees as great? What are some of the things you would say that in society, these are what people think, man, that's awesome, that's great, we should be doing it? Rappers. Right? Yeah, good point. Right? They're like heroes now these days, right? Basketball players. And not just rappers, but it's usually the rappers that say the dirtiest things. Like, we're cool with that, right? It's like, that's awesome, right? People that got money and flaunt it. Nothing's wrong with having money. But our society, really, when someone says, man, I made $1 million last year, right? Everybody, yo, you made $1 million last year, right? Have you ever heard a rapper talk about, I gave $1 million away last year, right? They don't see that as being monumental, right? It's the opposite. They see making and getting a lot for themselves as monumental. So, what are some things that the world sees as monumental that God might see as monstrous?
But wouldn't that be more or less like their greed, their money greed,
Yes.
as with the Pharisees?
Yeah, same thing. Right? But I'm saying, in the days of the Pharisees, they thought this was great. They looked at themselves as religious elite, were better than everyone else. And they thought that God was going to look at it and say the same thing. You guys are on point. Thumbs up. The Bible says God saw that as a monstrosity. And it's the same wording and the same idea that when I saw that scary movie, I run from it, or I throw up, or I get sick to my stomach, right? Imagine there's things that does that to God, create that type of reaction to God. What else do you think of for some of those things? That some of us might say is great, but God might say, no, that's not it. That's it. A model, right? Is it just a sense of a model? You ever heard that saying, sex sells? Right? Because you could watch a commercial, and it could be a commercial about a new car. And somehow they have a girl in a bikini talking about, yeah, you want to buy this new Lexus? Why is she there? What does she have to do with the Lexus? See, eye candy, right? But society says, hey, listen, you can't put out a good movie unless there's a sex scene in it. You can't put out a song unless half the girls, 100% of the girls in the video are dancing around half naked. And in our society, we give awards to that type of stuff. It's like, yeah. But in God's eyes, that is a monstrosity. Anything else? Movies? All movies? There's some good ones. Horror movies. What's the #1 movie in America right now?
Bad teacher.
Anyone seen that? What? Paranormal Activity 3. You saw part 1 and 2? Was it good?
They're awful.
Stanley.
It was funny.
It's funny? That's weird.
It was in that movie.
He's in that movie?
Jumping out.
Okay. Guys, anything else that society would think, how about power? Isn't that something that people, he has a lot of power. That guy, he controls so much. He runs so many things. He has a lot of authority and power. Right? Obama? Dictators. Right? Who's the dictator that just got killed? Gaddafi. Right? And listen, for 40 years, people thought, hey, he's the man. How did God see that? Right? Some of the things that we see as great, the Bible says God sees as a monstrosity. What are some things that we might see as not great, but God might see as beautiful? Ugly people. Yeah, we rate people, don't we? We judge people by the way they look. If they don't look to the standard we think they should look, we write them off. You know, one of the things about the Bible says Jesus was unattractive. He was unattractive. We would have passed by him. Who's that guy? This guy that turns a lot of stones to bread or something. Other than that, we don't want to hang with him. Anything else? Some things that we might deem.
People were handicapped.
Yeah. Handicapped people. In Jesus' day, they were as good as dead. And he came and he healed them. He spent time with them. But he didn't heal them just because he wanted to say I can make them better. He really thought that they mattered. When in most societies, they don't matter. What's another thing that people might look at as being corny, whack? God might say it to you.
Homeless people.
Huh?
Homeless people.
Homeless people. Yeah, how many of you, if you see homeless people, you kind of just try to go around them? Happens a lot. Right? How many of you would stop and talk to them?
I did actually the other day, and North Carolina, see my brother for the first time out of jail.
Yeah.
He finally got out.
Yeah.
So but there was a homeless guy that was there, and he was like, you could see 15, 20 people walking around.
Yeah.
You know, and these guys have that mindset to go, at least it's hot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When you need a day, if you want to stand up, I would say,
Well, I'll give an example. That's a good point. Caleb was a few weeks ago, maybe a month or so, he was really upset. What part of Africa do they have all those kids dying?
It's called the Horn of Africa. It's the eastern part of Africa where Somalia is at. There's 30,000 kids that have died in the past couple of months. They project that 300,000 will die by Christmas. And none of us know about that, right? Because all the world news has been centered on Gaddafi. Because Gaddafi controls our oil, and because he's put an embargo on his oil, well, he's now dead, so he no longer is, it hurts our gas prices. And that's what America's concerned about, our gas prices, instead of these 300,000 children that are dying. We don't care about them because they don't provide us anything. And that's the opposite of God's kingdom, right? We care about the oil. We care about the megalomaniac tyrant because he's making us pay more. But these 300,000 kids who don't give us anything, between them there might be a college education. We don't care about it.
So what's monumental to us is gas prices. Right? What's monstrous to God is what we would do for gas and who we would ignore. Right? There's hundreds of thousands of kids your age that's going to die for no other reason than they're a part of a certain part, they live in a certain part of the world. Who's talking about it? Could it be that we see, like that God sees that and he is disgusted? What's going on? Right? So, what do we watch on television? American Idol, America Got Talent, Justin Bieber, huh? Jersey Shore, was on that.
Yes, it does come on.
But think about it. Think about it. We're more concerned about Michael Jackson's doctor who overdosed him and killed him. That's on the news, and that's on television. But we're not concerned about innocent kids. Right? Now, this is one thing I want to share to you guys with this. Do you want to see the world the way we're used to seeing the world, or the way God sees it? Do you want to look at the world the way and see what God sees and decide, like, what's beautiful is based on what God thinks is beautiful? What's monstrous is what God thinks is monstrous? If that's the case, you look at the powerful, the stars that most people go crazy for, right? People pay money to go see them. God says, no, that's not what's happening. Why don't you take that money and go visit Haiti and help and serve? Now, God is like, that excites him. Just like when we go like, it's it, right? Look, it's Lil Wayne, crazy, right? Or, I don't know, who you like, Drake? Yeah, like, think about it. People would do anything to see these guys. They would hide, they would steal, they'd do anything. But I think God gets excited too. And I think God gets repulsed. Right? So we'll see Lil Wayne and we want to get close to him. We'll see a homeless person, we want to get away from him. God is the total opposite. And I'm saying, even though that seems weird to me, I actually want to start being more like God. I want to have the heart that says, I want to go to the homeless person and not be attracted to Lil Wayne because he's a star. Right? And hopefully Lil Wayne will say, you know what, you're right. I should be doing more with my wealth. Maybe I should change some of the things I say. Right? Now, we all have a decision. Do we want to become more like God or continue to be like the world? And God says, there's some things that are monstrosities to me, things that just disgust me. Are those the things that we're going to pursue, or those are things we're going to be like? Right? So, but it's flipped right now. We'll continue to pray for those kids in Africa. You know, if they found oil in that country, we'll be over there right now. So at Christmas, when we're opening gifts, giving and trading gifts, they're being buried, if that. They're probably just going to be left behind to die. Right? It's not right. Starvation. Right? And it's not that we don't have enough food in the world. We waste more food than they need. Right? So,
yeah, I mean, when I was a kid, there's a lot that I feared. You know, I was kind of a big kid, but I still was kind of a sensitive kid too. You know, and I remember I went to a birthday party once. I got left out of a football game and I started crying. You know, I mean, I don't know if any of you guys do that, but yeah, probably not. I was young. I was maybe 5 or 6, 13. But as a kid, I was pretty sensitive. And so I feared a lot of things. And I always wanted to be the fearless one, right? The guy who didn't have any fears. Have any of you ever lived like that? Where you have no fears in life. You're not afraid of how your parents will react. You're not afraid how your friends are going to think of you. Have any of us ever had that? I used to want to be, and the only person I thought who had that was God. But the more I get to know God, and I'm just going to be short here. The more I get to know God, and I want to read that. This is what Jesus said. You are masters at making yourselves look good in front of others, but God knows what's behind the appearance. That is what God fears. See, our fears make us into something different. They make us act a certain way. If we fear our friends will reject us because, we don't have the right jeans, we go and we buy the right jeans, the right shoes. Fear makes us act a certain way. The one thing that God doesn't do with his fear, because he has it, is it does not affect who he is. He will never be affected by the fact that he fears you becoming fake. He fears you becoming dishonest with who you are by starting to act a certain way because your friends are that way. And, I just want us, as an action point, as we close out, to realize that what God fears is you not being you. Is you not learning to love who God has made you. What God fears is us becoming masters of making ourselves look good in front of others when we have a lot of hurts and pains. God wants you to be who he created you to be, and that's why we're here. And he loves you the way you are.